clearly. It'll be a little bit darker than what my pencil would be, but I'm going to start off, I'm going to draw pretty much a kind of a perfect circle. It's actually a little pointier up on the top than it is on the bottom, but it's pretty much a pretty good circle. And again, if you can't draw a perfect circle, no one's going to fine you. We're not going to penalize you for not drawing a perfect circle. And see, now I didn't draw a real perfect one there, but I'm not going to worry about that. I'm going to come back, and since I was drawing pretty lightly, I can come back and make this part down here wider, which is what I need, and get to where it's a pretty good looking circle. And Charlie here is looking pretty much straightforward, but his face is over a little bit that way. So I'm going to kind of, like I did here, I'm going to kind of that middle line, I'm going to do very lightly, more over on that one side than on this other side. And I kind of followed the contour of that circle with that. And you can see Charlie Brown's eyes, they're actually a little further up than halfway on that circle. So I'm going to make my line up here a little further up than halfway, maybe like about there, for his eyes. And Charlie Brown has the wonderful distinction of having his nose right between his eyes. So I'm not going to worry about drawing a line for his nose. But his mouth, look, it's all the way down the bottom of his face. He's got a lot of space between his nose and his mouth. So I'm going to look at that, and I'm going to say, okay, his mouth is probably right about there. And his ears also are way far down on his head. And I'm not going to really get into his ears too much, but I will just kind of like say, okay, I think his ear is about somewhere there. Maybe where that line kind of comes over. I'll just indicate his ear about like that. Now, once I've located all those facial features, really the rest is pretty darn easy. I mean, all I have to do now is, okay, let's say we'll put the nose in first. And I know that the nose is going to be right here at the intersection of these lines, and it's just a backwards C. And the top of the C comes over a little bit more than the bottom does. So I'll start at the top of my C right there. And I'll come down just about like that. The bottom part that goes far to the top. And then his eyes are just two little dots. And you can see one of them is right there, close to his nose.
It's like touching his nose.
It almost is touching his nose. And the other one is right there at the end of where his nose comes to there, right there on that line. And I'm going to make it a little bigger than the other one. And then I've already pretty much got his mouth drawn in down here. It's a big, wide
He
smile.
has 2 holes in both teeth.
I'll actually go a little bit further than I went with my real sketchy line there.
He has an infection. His eyes are switching his nose.
He's got a couple little marks there in the middle of his mouth where his cheeks are. A couple little lines like that. And he's got that crazy Charlie Brown hair, which is just kind of a couple of squiggles, a little thing. Not too far. And now I'll come back and I'll make that circle a little better. And put his ears in. One ear is bigger than the other because it's on this side of his head.
His head is huge.
And this one you can just barely see over here because his head is turned just a little bit. It's about the same place as the other one.